Are we doing Kahoot?
I like the bottom of your keys. It's like, ding.
Yeah. It's like a trampoline. Like goes bounce, bounce, bounce.
Shut up, man.
Every night I look into your eyes. Guys, it's 19 days.
For what?
Would it be asked?
Only go on adventure. It's cute.
But does it need to be an apostrophe? Just a notebook? No, so they don't, actually doesn't need to be one. Just be aware that you're not putting them in when you actually don't need them. Notice that. Okay, 30 seconds to just try and finish it off. Until I find out.
No one owns up.
One can just
Yeah.
I have no name.
9,
I have no name.
8, 7,
Why did you do that? Look at it.
5, 4,
You said it.
3, 2, 1. And let's mark. Okay. So some of you might have marked already by looking at the answers at the back, but we're just going to go through it quickly as well because I just want to point out a couple of key things. All right. I can't go with you to Colin's house. Just pop your hand up if you can tell me where the apostrophe goes, and I'd like you to tell me why. Ella.
It goes, well, the first one that goes in can't, and it's because it cannot, and it's just joining them together.
Great. Contraction. And where does the ownership position one go?
It goes just after the N in Collins because it's his house, so it's owning it.
Great. He owns the house and there's just one column there. Let's go to the Bears game on the weekend. This one was a bit trickier. I'll ask Francesca, what did you get for that?
It's a bit long.
Okay, that's fine. You too?
So there's an apostrophe after the T and what?
Okay, great. Contraction, yeah. Where's the position apostrophe?
Right off the R.
Okay, before the S. Why is it before the S, guys, and not after the S? This was a tricky one, I thought. Henry. Excellent. There's just one team. Now, you might have been confused thinking, well, there's a lot of Bears. There's a lot of players in the team. There's just one team. Great. Give that a check if you got that. Okay, we'll skip number 3. Well, actually, I'll just tell you. It goes before the S and dad, and after the N and don't. The next one, the girls' baby suits need to be put in the dryer. Where's the apostrophe? Joe. Number 4.
Behind the
Behind, yes, see, before or after? Do you mean after it?
Oh, yeah.
After the S?
Yeah.
And why is it there, Joe?
Because it's like multiple girls.
Great. Multiple girls. So which word does it go on? Does the apostrophe go on the suits or the girls?
Girls.
Girls. Great. They're the ones owning it. Okay. On the next one, there's an apostrophe in the I'm before the M. And Daniel, where's the next apostrophe? The fire. Great. Apostrophe before the S on class. Okay, I don't think I'll mark the rest actually because you guys can mark that using the answers there. All right, quick reflection. From 1 to 10, how well do you think you understand apostrophes showing position? Okay, if you think you're in the 1 to 5 category, hands up. Okay, who thinks they're a 6 or 7 out of 10? Okay, who thinks they're an 8 or 9? Is there a 10 out of 10? Okay, excellent. So it shows there's a bit of a range there, but we're looking pretty good on the whole. All right, we're going to do the quiz top 3 get a lollipop, okay?
Is it on Kahoot?
Here we go. You're going to find out very shortly. It's going to be a race to sign in. I wonder who will get there first.
Why does it have to be erased?
Because it just has to be a race. It's very important.
Continue.
It's going to be either.
Let's go. I was like, I said, let's go. I spammed. Yeah, it's me. I spammed. I just like that.
Remove ETS because it doesn't join.
Everyone must join. Who's asking City Boys? Who's FTS?
Oh, that's me, because I just spammed to get in first.
Okay, you have to join again. I need to recognize your name. Who's LY?
Me.
Lilo, L1.
Yeah, because I spammed
And why have we got that cool dark theme? Why do you think that's going?
Halloween!
Halloween.
If it's
I'm not playing rugby. Halloween.
Oh, I got kicked out.
yeah.
Alright. 10 seconds to join, please. 10, 9, 8,
Wait, hold on. Oh no, never mind.
7, 6, 5, 4. Everyone must be joined. 3, 2, 1. Alright, good luck, guys. Apostrophes. Here we go. No, I didn't make it like that. Perfect. What we need. Where would the apostrophe go?
I'm 25.
Okay. Why is the apostrophe before the S on page E? It says hats, yep. Why is it before the S, Lily? Why is the apostrophe before the S, not after? It's just one person. Pugh Ho Choi, Josh A, and Little Chrissy.
Oh no! Oh, I am done.
Oh, come on, guys, come on. All right, why is there no apostrophe?
It's not a position. No one knows.
Perfect. All right, guys, I want you to listen in because this is a really important note. Now that we've gone over apostrophes, this always happens. Some people get really mixed up and they start wanting to use them all the time. Don't use apostrophes if you don't need it. So in here, there's nothing being owned. There's just multiple girls sitting in a row. They don't own anything. There's no contraction. You don't need an apostrophe. So don't just always put them in needlessly, okay? So that was a bit of a trick there, wasn't it? But it's a good lesson for you. Oh, okay. Zach and Izzy are up on the top now. Abdul's house.
I clicked the wrong one.
House of Abdul, yes. All right. So Abdul owns the house, so there is an apostrophe. He owns the house. He possesses the house. Yes, all right. It's Baptiste's last day, so they own the last day.
Becky?
Okay, why is there an apostrophe? Christian,
Because it's the boys' soccer game. Football
Great.
game.
it's the soccer game that the boys are playing. They own it. Their game. Right, yeah. So why is the apostrophe after S? Alan,
Because it's like everybody's soccer game, it's not just one person's.
great. There's more than one boy. And the clue was in the next sentence. They were not happy. There's more than one boy. All right, this was quite a tricky quiz. So if you're getting some wrong, that's fine. It's good learning, okay? Here we go. Next question, guys. Right. 20 students. Here we go. There's no ownership. They're not owning anything there. It's just multiple students.
They own their language.
Alright, very good. Alright, there is ownership. So one or multiple. Very well. Proceed, Zach. Okay, there it is, ownership. Is there one one person there. Danielle's the highest climber. 4 persons. Excellent.
What is the highest climb?
You go up a lot of places.
Yeah, go for places. Is there ownership?
How much money?
I'm behind Ella.
Maybe they do this in classes.
I'm making a comeback.
More questions. Top three, remember, guys.
How many homeworks do you have?
Good questions later.
This is my favorite question. First question.
I was 90. And I was on 23 when I started.
All right, Q-Ho. Is it Daniel or Danielle? Daniel and Marie. Well done, guys.
Like when she doesn't get it right. Such a stupid bitch.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, good job. That was actually very hard, especially when you get put under time pressure. It makes that activity a lot more difficult. You might have felt like, yeah, I understood this, and then you got into the quiz and you're getting lots wrong, and you're like, ah, damn. Well, it's probably because of the time pressure makes you do the wrong judgments. So it just shows that you need to keep practicing it in order to really, really nail it. Okay, we're going to jump to our homework. So, guys, hopefully you have your homework book here. If you do, you'll need to get that out. If you don't, then you're just going to get the piece of paper. But here, can you just hold the window?
You look like a mango.
Okay.
Mango.
If you don't have your homework book, then you're just going to have to get the piece of paper that I hand out, and you're just going to have to stick that into your book, okay? When you get a chance, you can do that. I'll leave it up to you. So I will hand out the homework sheets now, and you can also get your homework book now if you have it.
Mr. Order, can I help you hand them out?
This is me. This is me.
I'm starting it now.
This is me. Because she's got the bangs.
Oh, I don't have my
She had short hair. That's technically me.
She's the one who said no.
You're trying to make fetch happen. It's not gonna happen.
Okay.
South Africa geography, South Africa. Pregnant learning. Little countries of South Africa. And teach yourself on checkpoint here. Link. Countries of South Africa. Get ready in class. I'm a bragging alien, bragging alien, bragging alien. Oh yeah, every night I look into it. Listen, hang on. It's like, Ellie, you just can't be singing along.
I can't try.
Don't worry, guys.
Okay. So guys, we're going to go over the activities. It's fairly simple. Okay, and now suppose in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Now, the activities are fairly simple this week. So, maths is just mathematics, 1,000 points. Reading, it's just regular reading each night. So, you're going to need to remind your parents that that's the routine, okay, because they're going to have to sign that off for you. So, literally just 15 to 30 minutes. 15 minutes is not much, really. Okay, but it's important to keep your reading going. Spelling, there's just 8 words. Some of them are quite tricky, and they're on topical things. So it's actually, I've gone back to geometry words from last term. You've got triangle, then you've got different types of triangles, equilateral and isosceles. Then you've got a quadrilateral. What is a quadrilateral, Joe? Four-sided shape. You've got a rhombus, parallel and perpendicular, and rectangle. You've got a word find with those words. And then I forgot to write optional, but the geography South America one is optional to practice this, but it'd be great if you did. Remember back to term 2, we did it for the USA, Europe, and Asia. This time it's South America. All you have to do is learn the countries. For this week, you don't have to locate them. So you just need to know which countries there are. And in South America, there is only about 15 countries or something. So it's actually not too hard. Next week will be more difficult when you have to locate them on the map. But the top scorers, I'll give a small prize to. Okay, the top scorers. Any questions on homework? I don't think it's too hard this week. All right, excellent. So we'll move on to the next thing. That's out of the way. The next thing is we're going into our writing. So we're just kind of bits and bobs this block. Check the time. Great, we've got just enough time to do this. So 3 steps to this writing lesson. First of all, I'm just going to ask someone, what were we doing on Friday with our writing? Have a think back. What were we doing on Friday with our writing? Sienna. What do you think? We've been working with sentences.
Did we write like the story with all the sentence types in them?
All right. Sienna said we wrote a story with sentence types in them. Arthur, could you expand on that?
Is it the story we were writing about, like a creative story?
It was a creative story. Okay. Ella?
We went onto like a website and we got an image, and then everyone got to choose their own image, and then we had to write about that image and we had like sentences, those sentences types, and we had to use them in our writing.
Excellent. Okay. And let's look at the criteria. Does anyone remember what the success criteria, like specifically what you had to do to be successful? Lindsay?
We had to each of the sentence types at least once.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to write this back up for you guys. We had to use each of the, how many sentence types are there? Excellent. Use each of the 5 sentence types at least once. Okay, great. What was another criteria you had to do? Brady.
Use commas in the criteria.
Oh, yes. Use commas. So in those sentences, most of them have like a comma use. So if you use commas correctly in those sentences. And it was actually a third one. This was to make it easier for the reader. Have a think. It's just to make it a little bit easier for the reader. And today your buddy's going to read your one. Okay?
I like the sentence of the 5 sentence types.
Excellent. Highlight the 5 sentence types different colors. And if you put a little color key, that would be really great for the reader. Okay, you'll find that on your quick write stop. I'm gonna give 5 minutes for you to finish it off. If you don't know how to finish your story, I mean, that's fine. You can leave it just in the middle of the action, or you can just leave it. You can just finish it abruptly. But I do want you to make sure you've done these success criteria. That's what you want to try and achieve, because let's have a look at a point scoring. Let's do 5 points for this. Let's do 5 points for correct commas, and let's do 5 points for highlighting them each one of different color. It's going to be out of 15, and your buddy is going to mark you. So you want to try and, it'd be really cool if you could get 15 out of 15, or maybe 13 or 14 or something close. So 5 minutes to finish writing and to check you've got all of these. And then we will swap and do a little buddy share. You can share your story and a buddy mark. Are there any questions? Daniel? No, there's no prize. The prize is that you did well. You get a pat on the back. You get a slow clap, maybe. And also, let me say something. Oh, if you think you've finished that, like it's all polished, it's all done, what do you think you'll do in the next 5 minutes?
I'll finish
Perfect. All right. Yeah, I'll come around. You guys are doing some great work, actually. I was really impressed with what you guys were creating. Any questions around you guys?
Oh my God.
Josh, it's not on there. It's on the front.
ING, what are we doing? Zinging. Kinging. Wait, maybe I did do it.
Just a question, guys. Is 5 minutes enough, do you think, to finish it off? Pop your hand up if you think, yeah, I can finish it in that time. Okay, hands down. Pop your hand up if you think 10 minutes will be more needed by you. There's not many people. Pop your hand up if you've already finished. I know some have. Okay, I probably will keep it at 5. Maybe I'll jump up to about 7, just to accommodate those. Just those few people that felt they needed more. Jump up to about 7 minutes.
What? Don't tell him about me and Gracie and Miller.
Excellent, guys.
Is that why you cut it? No. I can't do an ING stuff. Things. You just told YouTube. Oh. It's in my jewel. But nobody watches them. My tier filled my eye. Do it on my fucking. Do it just shut it out. Oh, you dumb with it. Just stay on me. Why is Harry in my phone? Who's Harry? I'm a crackhead. What's your name? I snapped this. I mean, what's your name? Zach? 14.9.
Any questions here, girls?
No.
All right.
Whoa. How long does that have to be?
You choose.
Stop, mine doesn't make sense.
Right, Ella, you've done really well there. Just check that you've used the commas correctly in all of them. So I think you've got one
Oh,
sentence.
yeah, I didn't. Is it this one?
Yeah, yeah.
I just wrote it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, looks like you're doing pretty well there.
Is it after the ing word, or is it
What?
tensing
Just-
my jaw and then?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Shocked because he realized nobody could see it. It's really good. Does that make sense? There's no way that rubbing a stupid old coin can make me shrink. Harry laughed. Shrink. No, it should be shrink. You can't have shrink. And then it's meant to go like that. Harry laughed. And then full stop. And then make that. Yeah.
Are you gonna do one? You have to do one.
Yeah. Oh my god. Where are those scissors?
Actually, so you actually, yeah. So if you actually try and use that skill like in your own project, that's
Remember Josh was going to share? No, I wasn't going to
Do you want to, Josh?
No, it's really good.
Yes, he is very good. He doesn't have to if he doesn't want.
You can read it if you want to share it.
This is great, Tom.
I found rectangle.
That's it.
So I just use the short
Maybe we can modify.
Yeah.
Think about the end of stuff. Often end of the beginning. So like, unfortunately, or even in your book, there's a whole set of just drilling. That might help you.
Does he have a nose?
Soon as I
All right, excellent, Lara. Just this here should be a new sentence, so it should be a full stop there. You use the ed start, and then you want to start a new sentence there. And you can fix the grammar by saying shocked. He realized nobody could see him. So you don't need because. Shocked. He realized nobody could see him.
Your story was good. I'm just not that smart.
Okay, you've done pretty well there, I think.
Well, it's the summary wrong. An old man he had built up his message.
of this guy storm sitting on a submarine with his ship.
I decorated Josh's book. All right, Jody.
I went with in Ben's car. What do I get? 15. What did you get out of 15?
What was I going to say? Zach, I'm taking you to yeah, sing Halo with me. Excuse me, say hi. Okay.
Josh tried to join your live, but it said it was restricted.
Really?
Yeah.
Try again.
It's restricted.
Try again.
No, it's like the school doesn't let you join.
Try again. I'm gonna try to. No, don't try. Just. Lala? Oh, do you know fast finisher? What are the fast finisher options? I've got plenty. This is what I will put on the story.
This is what you're going to do. Oh no, you didn't know like that.
That's what it really is.
You're going into Powerpuff Girls.
Yep.
Well, no one's going to be dancing with you.
That's exactly what it
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, hey guys, hands up if you think you've finished and you think you've actually covered that criteria as best as you can. All right, that looks pretty good. Well, we're going to do a swap and a buddy mark. So how it's going to work is you can either share your Google Doc with your buddy, or you can just swap computers with them. First of all, that person is going to read through your story, and I want them to enjoy the story. So they can just simply read through and take in the writing. Then, once they've done that, then they can go back and start looking at the criteria. So they can look for these 3 criteria, and they're going to give you 5 points for each one. So obviously, use each of the 5 sentence types at least once. That's obviously going to be worth 5 points, 1 for each sentence type they use. Yeah, use commas correctly in those sentences. See if you think they used it right, and they get 1 point for using the comma correctly in each of those 5 sentences. 5 points, obviously. Oh, actually, one of these won't have a comma in it. Which one won't have a comma in it out of those 5 types? Audrey, which one of these probably won't have a comma in it? So thanks, Anna. So anything for very short sentence probably won't. I agree. And lastly, this is obviously worth 5 points as well. Is there any questions about the scoring? Okay, if you're really if you know what you're doing, you'll probably write a little heading, success criteria, and then you might score each out of 5 and then put a total. So you make it quite nice and neat for the reader. Up to you how you want to make that look, but that's what I would do. I'd probably say 1, 2, and 3. I might even say number 1, 5 sentences, number 2, commas, number 3, highlight, and put a score next to each. Make it clear for the reader. And then when you're finished grading it, you are going to swap back and show the person why you gave them the score for each. So if you took off a couple of marks to show them more. Are there any questions on that? Ella?
Should you also comment on like the person's actual story?
Oh,
Like give them feedback?
yes, that would be really nice actually. I'll make that an optional one. If you could tell them if you like. You could tell them what you really liked about the story. Or if you want to write down something as well, that would be great. An optional little comment about what you enjoyed in the story. Some of you guys have done some great writing, and that's why we're going to do some class sharing after this. Okay, 10 minutes to do that, guys. 10 minutes, off you go.
I'm a crackhead.
Oh yeah.
Kaboom. When they, no, I was like, I'm just gonna fully send it. I'm just gonna fully send it. And I kind of like this is like, and then I was like cutting it too short. And then I pulled through, otherwise I just had like this bit where it's like short and then I don't want to cut anymore.
Just make it clear that
I'm not. I didn't give it. I'm gonna grow my hair.
shows us.
I'd actually.
Yeah.
How did you? But if you had it, if you.
Get the joint experience.
Swiper, no swipe.
Zach, mine.
Let's do.
Zach,
Let's go to 6, 5, and 5. Let's go to 6.
just put
And you find one.
you have to fly first.
Oh my god, it's Elsie.
Capital Z. Did you read like in my head? I've got
Josh, you know Peanut and Nora is penis, but Peanut in Spanish is penis, which I think is talking about. Mr. Worldwide. That way.
oh, mango. Nah. Nah. She's got fluffs. Oh, she's oh my god. Hydro fluffs.
Are you kidding me? That's so sick. That's such a sick hydro flask.
Save the turtles. Wait, what did you say?
Jesus. What? But it was just
Okay. Audrey, putting on the next step, I think what I said, just bring in just lots of 5, including criteria. Well, I guess it's going to be 5 out of 5 for all.
no, it isn't. This is my one. Ow!
And 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm just stopping a little bit earlier because I think most people are getting to the point of finishing that. If you are still marking it, can you do that quietly while we have some people share? Now pop your hand up if your buddy got over 10 out of 15. Pop your hand up if your buddy got over 12 or more. 13 or more. 14. Did anyone's buddy get 15 out of 15? Wow. Excellent. Would anyone like to share with the class? I'd love
What does she use?
No.
guys, if people are going to just be talking over me and just being rude, I'll just keep doing it at lunch. Easy. And you guys will be the reason everyone is in here. Because you decide to be rude and selfish. Okay, pop your hand up if you're keen to share with us. I'd love to hear some stories. We're just going to listen to the story. We don't need to critique it. We're just going to listen and enjoy. Christian, excellent. Start, Christian. Stand up and face the class. It just makes it a bit easier.
I'll just read the first paragraph. Okay. The flowers gave him hope. Sitting there in the frosted covered park, with snowflakes gently falling from the cold October sky, he reflected upon the events on the past few days. He wanted to be loved. Slowly, tears started to parade down his eyes. The man holding the flowers looked down at the floor. Horrendous thoughts rushed through his head. Though he was covered in jackets and jumpers, he still felt extremely cold. He felt useless. His eyes slowly started to close. Crying, the old man stood up on his feet. He nearly fell. Hold up. Whoops. He nearly fell. Suddenly, the sound of hope buzzed through his mind. The unknown sound sounded like it was coming from the north. This was his first glimmer of hope. The tiny ant suddenly grew bigger and bigger as it was coming towards him. Shocked, the man grew a cheeky grin. It was his son.
Excellent. Let's give him a clap, guys. It was very, very good. Fantastic job. Really impressed with that writing. Powerful. Anyone else like to share?
Did you say Joel?
That job.
Oh, I thought you said Joel.
Daniel, excellent. You focus? Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Struggling to stand up. No, struggling to stand up. He stood over the line. He could see them, lines. They stood against his hiding. I mean, plenty of them on the right and three of them on the left. They felt like an ambush town or did wrong. When he came flying down, 5 people were unknowingly killed. 5 down, 15 more to go. Unaware of his son, fell up the back. They can't see him. Tossing and dicing, all we could see was this. He had done it. He floated up the other side. As he heard screams, he rushed away as soon as he could. It was too late for him. He sat there. He didn't see him.
Great language. Let's give him a clap, guys. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Dan. These stories are excellent. Anyone else like to share? It's great that people sharing. Thanks for courage. Alan?
Oh no.
Alice is really good.
Zach, you want to share?
Is that?
I'm fine.
You sure? Anyone else? I know it's quite a takes a bit of courage to share. So,
Actually,
can you
Alan's
say-
gonna share
Brody's
his.
awesome.
just
Okay, that's
kidding.
fine. Brody's going to share a bit of his.
Stopped. The last warrior was walking across the bodies. Suddenly, he stopped, thinking about the families, the ones he most likely wronged. He waited there. Shrugging to himself, the man continued walking. While he was distracted by pain, he only just realized he made it home.
Excellent. Great flow. Let's give them a clap, guys, for sharing. Thank you, Brody. Fantastic. It really, even if you guys don't notice it, it really improves the flow of your writing using these different sentence types. Ella, awesome.
While I reflected what had happened the past few days, I sat down on the white bench that sat in the middle of the park. As I sat there thinking, I managed to hold on to hope for the future and let go of what had happened. As the snowflakes fell upon my grey scruffy coat, the only colour in the park that day was the 2 pink flowers I clutched in my hands. Carefully, I stood up and began to walk over to the graveyard my family lay in, but I stopped. I froze. My hand unclutched the pink flowers, and I watched them fall to the icy ground. Amazed, I looked behind me. Tensing my jaw, a tear filled my eye in shock.
Fantastic. That was really good. Let's do a clap, guys. Excellent. Guys, you guys can be proud of the writing you're doing. I'm really, really impressed. Okay, so the key is you guys need to keep using these different starters. Like I made you do it in this piece of writing, but I want you guys to just keep thinking about using variety because trust me, it really improves your writing. Okay, if you want one guaranteed way to help boost the level, this will do it.